Yo, what's up, citizens of the World Wide Web? It's your boy, Mr. 13. Yes, sir, and I'm here with a special edition of the Sit Down on S.STREET Media.
Yeah.
I got my homie with me, my longtime business partner, Legacy Starr, a.k.a. Roger A. Franco.
Yeah. Thank you for having me here, brother. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure to do a show with you. It's like old times.
Yes.
For those that don't know, me and this man have been doing internet radio together since 2008.
Yeah.
We started on a little known website called Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
This is a major difference from when we first started. We initially started on a phone.
Cell phones in the living room.
We would call on the phone into a website and they would cast us over the internet.
Yeah.
And look at now, we got we got a whole microphones and all that. We got lights.
You know what I'm saying? We got computers, cameras. It's the evolution.
It's the evolution. From Blog Talk Radio, we moved on to a internet radio show known as DTF Radio. We hosted the Cypher Show for 10 years on DTF Radio from 2010 to 2020. Right? No, right 2019, I think we ended right before the pandemic.
Right.
For you, I want to ask you, starting off, what were some of your favorite episodes of the Cypher?
Oh, man. To go back, I think definitely one of my favorite shows was when we had Smith & Wesson on the show.
Yes, sir.
Boot Camp Click. It was great to sit down and chop it up with them. Another great show, because it actually wasn't the show. It was after what happened after the show. We had KRS-One's brother, ICU, who came to the show, and it was kind of.
It got popping. It got busy outside.
It got busy. We went to a after hours joint. People running from cops, buying liquor from the bar with fake credit cards. It was a night.
If anybody is familiar with DTF Radio, then you know that Bushwick Avenue got real.
Word.
That's right.
It was very real. But what I really loved about the show was how authentic it was, the realness of it. How we were able to come through and really speak about, the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
And, that's when a lot of internet radio shows were doing the pay for play. If artists and guests would pay, you could get an interview, or you could, get spins on the radio. But we didn't do that. So I think that's what a lot of people liked about the show. It was just real, authentic, and we did it just off the love of the music. You know what I'm saying? In the culture.
One of my favorite things about being on the Cypher Show was the opportunity to introduce new artists to the world. Mm-hmm. We had Starr from MMG.
Yeah.
From Maybach Music.
Yeah.
We had Action Bronson. We were one of the first radio shows to have Action Bronson on.
Word.
We were one of the first radio shows to have Nems.
We had Nems. We had I don't know if y'all remember this show that was on MTV2. It was called The Man Show, I believe.
Oh yeah, when we did the comedy specials, right?
We had Damian Lemon, who was a featured comedian on that show. So we had him come through, and like Chris said, we had a lot of people come through that was before they really blew up, and we'd like to think that we helped in some way to get them to where they are today. So y'all owe Decipher.
I want to give a shout out to the Low Lives. We got one of the legendary Low Lives in the building, Prance Low.
Yeah, shout out to Prance. Actually, we did a show with the original founders of the Low Lives. Rest in peace to Ski Low. You know what I'm saying? We had Rakim, Rudy Low, Prance was there. The Feli dude was there. It was a good show, and they spoke about the origin of it, of the Low Lives, and the reason why. We wanted to do that show was because of the significant impact that the Low Lives had on the culture of hip hop. If you take a look now, 2023, if you want to get fly and dip, everybody is throwing on low. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, big up to them for the contribution they made to the culture, and it really spoke about society. Because I was talking to one of the founders, and he said, He was actually working at Channel 5 television station. And when he would come to the station wearing his low, that's when he started to get noticed by the executives and actually newscasters. And it was like, yo, you work in the mailroom, but you dress fly. You know what I'm saying? So that spoke a lot, I think, about how, you know, for a lot of us where we come from, there's a lack of respect and dignity that's given to us. And I think the Low Lives showed that they went out and sort of took that dignity and the respect based off of the, you know, the clothes that they wore and how they presented themselves. So big up to them. That's actually one of my favorite shows also that we did.
That was definitely one of my favorite shows. And I bring all that up to show the history that we have together to the people who are listening right now, and also the evolution.
Right.
After the pandemic, well, after the Cypher show, Legacy decided to do his own show. He went solo.
Yeah.
And he created a show called The Conversation.
The Conversation.
We had a very impactful first season together. And in that first season that you did, what were some of the shows that stood out to you then?
Well, just to give a little background, The Conversation is a podcast really that I wanted to focus on topics and issues in our community that really not spoken a lot about. So some of the first shows that I did were around mental health in the Black and Latino community, you know, financial literacy, how to build generational wealth, you know, relationships, healthy eating, you know, healthy living, that type of thing. I wanted it to be a show where people could, you know, gain some knowledge and some insight. And, you know, I like to provide a lot of information. So the first season was on the platform with Made for Kings. The second season I did was actually on S.STREET Media. Shout to Math. You know what I'm saying? In that season I did, you know, the impact of women in hip-hop. And, you know, also, again, on healthy living, because that's something that I think that's really something we need to talk about for our communities. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that eat, you know, chicken wings and French fries every night for dinner. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, again, I just wanted to touch on those type of topics, things that I think are important. So, you know, that's how I came up with The Conversation and, you know, some of the topics that, you know, I touched upon.
One of my favorite topics that you did at the first season was the mental health episode. Mm-hmm. Who were your guests on that episode, and what was some of the things that you discussed?
Oh yeah, so I had, just so you know, people didn't think I was just making shit up and, you know, talking out my ass. I had two black psychologists that were on the show, and they spoke about the disparity of what Black and Latino people face when it comes to mental health. So there's actually a stigma in our community, you know, for us seeking mental health resources or therapy. You know, and if you look at it in the white community, therapy is seen as a status symbol. But in our communities, it's looked at like, oh, you crazy. You're supposed to be strong enough to handle whatever life gives you. And there's a lot of trauma and pain that people are dealing with, not in a healthy way. So I think that's the importance of, you know, mental health. So what we spoke about was, you know, good ways to deal with the trauma and the pain. You know, what you should look for. I think this was important. What you should look for as a person of color when you need to go seek services. You know, certain things that you should have insight into to make sure that you're getting quality therapy. So, you know, we spoke about that, and, you know, I'm definitely going to have them on upcoming shows, that episodes that I want to do, because I think mental health is a topic that continuously needs to be spoken about. And, you know, I think the biggest thing is the trauma and the pain that people have gone through that they still carry with themselves to this day, and they don't have a real effective way to deal with that. So that's what I really want to get at with the show.
That's very interesting. If anybody wants to go back and see some of those shows, they are available on YouTube. So we are actually back on the air with The Conversation, right?
Yes.
And we recently did an episode where it was a reaction to a video that's out right now by two female rappers named, one is named Sexy Red.
Right. And
The other one is Sukihana.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us your reaction to that video, man?
So
yeah, tell us about the song and the reaction to it.
So just so people understand, you know, the show before us was talking about the 50th anniversary and birthday of hip hop. So I wanted to do a show based off that and sort of where we are right now as a culture. And the reason I wanted to do that specific topic was a friend of mine sent me a video, the Sexy Red and Sukihana video, and the caption said, "This generation is lost." So wanted to talk about it because obviously from where we started to where we are right now, there's a big change. You know, can we say that the music and the culture has evolved, or has it devolved to where we are right now? So we did a little, I had Diz the Icon. He was actually with us on DTF Radio at the Cypher Show. I had him on as a special guest, and we did a little reaction to the video and, excuse me, everything, sort of the imagery and, you know, just the ratchetness of it. And, you know, for me, I still want to think that video is a joke, that it's not serious. But I see a lot of people, especially women, who are defending and protecting Sexy Red and Sukihana, right? So that made me think even more about where we have come as a culture. And, you know, I personally feel, and what we talked about on the show is that she's a plant in the industry, and she's out there to promote a certain type of imagery, a certain type of mindset, and it's negative, right? So the fact that certain people want to defend it, to me, speaks volumes. So, you know, that's what I wanted to talk about. And, you know, really, it wasn't about giving my opinion. It's about having that discussion and you know, having people talk about it, because I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And after we did that show, I got, you know, parents who were hitting me up like, yo, I was just talking to my kids about this, you know, last week. And, you know, that's what the conversation is all about. But as a result of, you know, our commentary, the show got flagged for hate speech. It got, you know, promo clips were taken down off of Instagram. So that only shows me that what we were talking about is valid. You know what I'm saying?
What happened with the video?
It got flagged as hate speech because of the commentary we did on it, and some of the videos got taken down. But you can still go to madeforkings.com. You can still go to the YouTube page for Made for Kings and still see the show. So I would definitely encourage y'all to go check it out. And, you know, again, I want it to be thought-provoking and hopefully things that you take away from it that's like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be promoting and defending this type of music, because it's to the detriment of our community, especially the young kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw Sexy Red now has a lip gloss line, and it's called Coochie Juice. So, like, if your daughter, for those of you who have children, if your young daughter were to come home and be like, "Daddy, Mommy, I want to get some coochie juice."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What's the discussion you're gonna have with them about that?
Exactly.
So I think that's important.
I have a daughter, and I would be, I would be like, "Nah, you ain't having no coochie juice on your lips." Hell no. Nah, but I'm glad we bring that up, because the topic of this episode is the hypocrisy of social media, specifically social media outlets like Instagram, who allow videos of people being murdered. They allow videos of drug dealing. They allow all types of negative imagery, but when you speak out against it, they flag you,
right,
and they take your content down.
You know what I'm saying? So the next two shows that I'm going to do, they definitely going to flag, because one of them is going to be, you know, satanic symbols and imagery in society and in the entertainment business. And then the next topic I'm going to do after that has to do with, I'm actually going to get a lot of hate for the for that one, because I'm going back to slavery times, and I'm going back to show how certain behaviors and characteristics of our people still remain today. And I'm going to talk about a man by the name of Willie Lynch, where the term lynching comes from.
Yeah.
He was a British slave owner who had a plantation in the West Indies, and he was known for his brutality and his ability to control his slaves. So much so that the slave owners here in the country asked him to come and talk about his strategy and philosophy. And I think that, and we've all heard about the buck breaking and the brutality. And the thing I really want to focus on with that show is the main ingredient to that was the black woman and the firstborn child of that woman. So we're going to get into all of that. We're probably going to get flagged and banned and all of that. But again, I think that's what we do. And I think it's a discussion that needs to be happened, because I'll give you an example. One of his major tactics was to use the differences amongst the slaves to create distrust and disloyalty. He said that distrust is stronger than trust, and disloyalty is stronger than loyalty. So we're gonna put the old against the black, against the young. We're gonna put the light skin versus the black skin, dark skin. We're gonna put women against men. Now, even the locations of the plantations. I'm from the East plantation. I'm from the West. I'm from the South. We still see that today, where dudes be. I'm from this projects. I'm from the East Side of Chicago. I'm from the South Side of East LA. And it was amazing to me to see how these same characteristics and behaviors still exist today. So, you know, a lot of people like to say, oh, slavery ended hundreds of years ago and blah, blah, blah. But the psychological impact that the institution of slavery had on our people still remains today. And that is the trauma and the pain that we haven't dealt with. So my goal with bringing up these type of topics is to foster these types of conversations. Like, I hope with me just bringing this stuff up here tonight that people in the audience are thinking about it. They might go home and research, well, who's Willie Lynch? Let me go look him up. You know what I'm saying? There was another publication that came out in the 1850s amongst the slave owners that taught how to disenfranchise the slaves, keep them entertained. Don't we still see that today?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Keep them interested in the master's enterprise and keep them entertained. So a lot of us focus on, you know, who are our masters today? Clothing, jewelry, cars, liquor. You know what I'm saying? So again, these are things to think about. And I don't care if I piss people off, because I'm going to talk about your favorite artists. I'm going to talk about behavior that you might still be exhibiting that needs to change. But I think that's my purpose and why I want to do these shows. And yeah, we're going to take the gloves off and we're going
to run with it,
we're going to run with it.
That's why, you know, I think outlets like S.STREET Media is so important. It gives us an opportunity to discuss topics that really matter to our communities.
Exactly. Right? That's what it's all about, man. I want to give special shouts to Math, because I remember when he first started coming around DTF, and to see what he's built from then till now, I think he deserves a round of applause for that. Because even when he wanted to start doing his own thing, and you know, people would hate, people had negative things to say, people would want to see him fail. And I'm proud of you, fam. I'm proud of you, brother, for where you are right now, and the fact that we're able to do this here. That I think that speaks volumes, because a lot of people, they don't want to, you know, bring the next man on. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to collaborate. They don't want to build. But that's what Math is all about. That's what Sosa's all about. That's what S.STREET Media is all about. So I applaud you for doing these types of things. It's important. You know what I'm saying? We have to look out for each other. We have to help build up each other's brands. When I talk to Chris, he's talking about building up his brand and how he connect with S.STREET Media. When I used to do the show on S.STREET Media, Math would do the same thing, talk about Chris. So I think it's important. We need to break down those barriers. They always say people in New York, we can't work together. We always at odds. But I think this right here proves everybody wrong. You know what I'm saying? So, Math, keep doing what you're doing. I support you wholeheartedly. I think it's a beautiful thing. And, who knows what S.STREET Media is going to be in the next 5 years? Who knows what Made for Kings is going to be in the next 5 years? Let's support each other and get each other there together so we can all be at the top and then start controlling our culture.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Because one of the things that we were talking about on the last show was how we sort of gave it away. The people who are in control of hip-hop now and our culture, they didn't come from where we came from. They don't look like us. You know what I'm saying? So they had the business acumen and that sort of business mind to sort of capitalize off of our culture. But now let's take that back. And let's take it back and have it be a gift for our children and the generations that's coming after. Yeah. So let me get off my soapbox now.
So yeah, me and Math, we've known each other for a long time. Since the 90s, we started off as graph writers, bombing the streets of New York. So it's very encouraging to see what Math is doing. We've both been along the same path for a while now, and we've helped each other grow. Shout outs to Math, shout outs to the Vandal Hour. I want to give a shout out to 1718 Collective, who is Math's business partner.
Yeah.
And like Legacy was saying, we want to build something that we could leave for our children. What's some strategies you think we could use to make that happen?
Well, shit. How much time we got? I think
A lot of time. Keep going.
number one, I think we got to deal with that pain and the trauma of certain things that have happened to us that we got to really, from a mental health perspective, really deal with that stuff. The second thing I think is financial literacy. How many of us build or have a game plan to build generational wealth for the next 300 years? We don't focus on that level. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So I think we got to focus on financial literacy. We have to focus on building up our communities and getting the resources that we need. Like I mentioned before, mental health resources. But not only that, but, trades. How to fix a car, how to do roofing, how to do, painting a house and all that type of stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be a college-educated direction that you take. So I think the biggest thing is just building up our communities and focusing on positive imagery. Like there's tons of kids, like there's 2 kids right now who are under the age of 12 who have an IQ that's higher than Bill Gates. But we don't know about them. We don't know who their names are, but we know who's the biggest rapper and who's in jail and, all this type of stuff. So I think if we stop focusing on that negative imagery, and, everything I said, I mentioned, I think that's what's going to get us there. But it's going to take some time.
Yeah, they want us to focus on gossip like Remy and Papoose.
Word.
Right? They keep us looking the other way while they do foul shit in the background.
Keep us entertained. Keep the master enterprised and the slaves entertained.
I want to ask you, what are some books that you would suggest people read so that they can gain some more knowledge?
One book I think everyone should read is Before the Mayflower by Lerone Bennett Jr. It talks about people of color in this country prior to the Pilgrims and all of that. Another book I think people should read is it's a book called White Trash. And it talks about, this is from a socio-political perspective is important because the way the white person in this country was conditioned to believe, like the poorest white man was conditioned to believe that he's better than the richest black man, right? So it talks about when the immigrants from Europe first came to this country. Like, they have us believe it was the Puritans and Plymouth Rock, and it was all about religious persecution. That was only one part of it. They sent over a lot of criminals. They sent over a lot of young kids who were indentured slaves because of their family owed a debt.
Yeah.
So I'm getting off topic because you're getting me hyped now.
Yeah.
But yeah, White Trash, read that one. I think also read, there's a book called All God's Children. And it's about this this guy, his name is Willie Bosket. And in the 90s, he was considered to be the most dangerous inmate in the New York State penal system.
Facto.
And the reason why I gravitated towards this book and why it resonated with me, because I remember in like 1983, 1984, he was actually in the news because he was 16 at this time. He used to rob people in the train, and he ended up shooting somebody. Now, this is the era before kids were really shown doing crime. So a 16-year-old kid who shot somebody on the train was big news. So I remembered him, and when I read his book, the purpose of the book was originally to just talk about him being the most dangerous criminal in the penal system. But what the author did, he did sort of an autobiography where he traced the violence in his family back to slavery times. And it showed how his great-great-grandfather went to prison for murder, his uncles, his father was even in prison for murder. So that's a great book to read because it talks about that mental health that I'm talking about. Another book is called Lincoln's Gamble. I love history. So it talks about the year prior to Lincoln coming up with the Emancipation Proclamation and how a lot of people think that it was, you know, he did it for some moral reason and blah, blah, blah. No, it wasn't. Read that book. He didn't even want black people in this country after they were freed. So read that one. And because I'm also on a spiritual tip, meditation, manifestation, energy and frequency, pick up a book by Deepak Chopra. It's called Total Meditation. I could go on and on. Yeah.
So for those that are with us today that don't like to read, how about some documentaries that they can watch?
Oh, the Hidden Colors. The Hidden Colors series, definitely check that out because they talk a lot about the history of slavery and just the history of black and Latino people in the world and the impact that, you know, we've had. Documentaries.
I'm more of a book reader.
There's actually if y'all could find it, look it on YouTube. So again, I'm also into science and quantum physics. If you look for this video called "What the Fuck Do We Know?" What the bleep? Okay, I see you. She knows what it is. Read that because, you know, the world is all about energy and frequency, and I don't want to get too deep into it because I'll lose a lot of y'all. But it's important how we control our own reality by our decisions, by our attitudes. That's a lot about the spirituality aspect of it. So, you know, check that out as well.
So, you know, we were talking about rap music before. I'm going to backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
We know that you believe there's industry plants. Mm-hmm. But who is it that you actually listen to?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, anytime somebody gets into my car, they tell me that it seems like I was locked up since '92. Because I listen to, you know, old Souls of Mischief, of course, Nas, Wu, Mobb Deep, Hieroglyphics, X-Clan. I still listen to X-Clan. Brand Nubian, Poor Righteous Teachers. You know, a lot of that, you know, music with substance and soul to it. Yeah. Something to feed my soul.
Do you think there's anybody out there carrying that torch?
I like Joey Badass.
All right.
Joey Badass. Oh, Coast Contra. Check them out if y'all don't know who they are. Yo, they're the rebirth of what's the name of that? Native Tongues. They got some woo in there. Yo, Coast Contra, check them out.
That's a fact.
They official. Oh, how could I forget my favorite? Pete and Baz.
Oh, P and Baz.
These
White-
two
all white boys.
white men from Europe, from England.
Yeah.
They like in their 70s, 80s. Yo, when I tell you these boys can spit, check them out. Pete and Baz, B-A-S.
Facts.
Check them out. Yo.
The God is up on his shit, man.
I love hip hop, man. I love it. You just gotta search for what you want.
Definitely, man.
I got a question for y'all.
Go ahead.
You know, the name of the show was Decipher, man.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all have artists actually spitting on your show?
Oh, we like to say we set that trend. Because after us, a lot of even on mainstream radio, they started doing ciphers, and actually some of the same artists that was on our show started showing up on their show.
On the BET cipher, I want to say this. I won't take credit for starting the cipher, because that's a part of the culture that's been around for
True.
since the beginning. But I was inspired by something called the Mike Check Show, which was on Hot 97 back in the 90s.
Okay.
And one time when me and Legacy were sitting together and we were coming up with ideas, everybody was doing the battle. It was the battle. So I said, yo, why don't we bring back the cipher? That's where I was an MC at one time, and that's how we met each other. And that was the proving ground. When you was trying to prove that you was nice, you had to step into the cipher and you had to hold your own. You had to be either the best or at least one of the best to gain respect. And that's how we came up with the show, The Cipher. And yes, we used to call it, what was it? We called it The Cipher, aka Gladiator School, because you better come prepared. Because the artists that were there were coming to eat.
Did you have any whack ones?
Oh yeah,
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Some people got embarrassed being up there. Like they shut up quick when they saw everything was up there.
Yeah.
All the people came through. Shouts to Bakeman Global. He came through and tore it down a few times.
Yeah.
So everybody know Bakeman. That's the homie right there. Coach put me in. He's dope. We had
Rolly the Big Loco.
Rolly the Big Loco.
Trendsetter. He had Nems, Action Bronson.
Yeah.
He had his homeboy.
Shaz.
Yeah.
Shaz Ill York.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
We had a few signed artists that came and choked. But if you want to see that, you might have to go to YouTube and look at the archives.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta go find it, brother. You gotta find it.
Yeah, you gotta go back. We're trying to get some views. Trying to get views.
Word. Now, it was a dope experience, though. I like to think. Yeah, I think the greatest compliment we ever got was somebody said, like, yo, they need to make a statue of y'all out here in Brooklyn for what y'all doing, because it was just so authentic and real that people really gravitated towards it. It was good times.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Mills Low and Low Vox, who helped put together the Low Life episode. I wanted to mention that before. I didn't get a chance to.
Word.
I also want to give a rest in peace to Jason Bourne, who was a big part of our ciphers.
Word.
I want to give a big shout out and a rest in peace to AD the General, who helped us.
Rest in peace to Bugzo.
Rest in peace, DJ Bugzo.
Who's a DJ on our show.
Yeah. Those were
He was my inspiration.
those are our fallen soldiers that were running alongside with us in this game. We hold the torch for them.
Word.
So, before we go, is there anything any shout outs you want to give? Anything you want to say?
I just want to shout out again S.STREET Media, Math, Sosa, the whole team here. It's always love. I love coming through to your events. Shouts to Made for Kings, Mr. 13 for the platform to do my show. Shouts to all of y'all for sitting here and listening. That's important. The fact y'all came out in the rain and sit here and support, that's important. You know what I'm saying? So keep doing what y'all doing. The only thing I'll say is, check out the conversation you know, I've spoken a little bit about some of the vibe of the show and, you know, what to expect. And I'm also open to ideas. You know, if people want to give us ideas on what we should talk about, you know what I'm saying? Like the previous show, they were talking about MS resources and services. One of my close friends has it. And I think I might do a show on that. You know what I'm saying? So I think let's come together more in spaces like this and really celebrate ourselves. And like I said, I think our focus should be how we're going to leave this for our children and our future generations, because I think that's important. And, you know, I don't want to get on no self-help motivational shit, but I love all of y'all. I love doing this type of thing, and, you know, let's do some more, collaborate.
Yeah, man. I just want to end off with giving a couple of more shout-outs to some people that were important to our movement. I want to give a shout-out to Lost, a.k.a. Coach Flacco.
Right.
I want to give a shout-out to Diz, the icon, who was one of our best hosts. I want to give a shout-out to Pretty Girl, DJ Ace of Spades, even Ed Lake. Some of the people I had to fire on the show. Shout-outs to them. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here today. We got to learn from everything.
Word.
And I want to give a shout out to Math before we go, and you know, the opportunity to do this and to promote our platform as well. So give a round of applause. You can find me on madeforkings.com. That's my website, and it's on all social media platforms. It's Made for Kings. So shout out to S.STREET Media. Shout out to Sosa and the 1718 Collective. And shout out to everybody in the building. We look forward to networking with y'all. If you want to know who we are and talk to us, we'll be around during the night. All right?
Well, let me just. he stole the show. Let me tell you where y'all can find me at. It's Legacy Starr with 2 R's. That's all one word. I really don't do Facebook because I feel the FBI is watching that. Really catch me on IG. And, you know, tune in. We premiere the shows Sundays at 9 p.m. We're working on a new show, Satanic Symbols in Society and the entertainment business. I'm going to talk about your favorite artists. But, yeah, tune in.
Peace, everybody. Have a good night.
Peace.